Well. Welcome to another edition of Watson and Wiltshire podcast. To the thousands that watch us on YouTube Reels and the 15 or so on YouTube, welcome.
Thank you for your viewership and your listening. We appreciate that.
And last episode for the summer spectacular was what are we calling this thing? Summer season of summer swimmy, swummy, Swanson,
slippy, slappy. It was just the summer spectacular, I think. Right. Summer movie spectacular.
Summer movie spectacular. Had a little. We tried to do it live together, and
we tried to do it live. We did it live.
Our audio wasn't so hot, so
wasn't great.
We've gone back to new setting, and in that I got a little green screen action going on behind me. It's actually bluish right now, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it looks kind of like maybe behind you is an aurora borealis or something, like you're something a quasar happening behind you or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of beautiful. I like it. I dig it.
Truth is, it's my Return of the Jedi bunk bed back there that I don't want everybody to see. So.
Oh man, you show that loud and proud. See, I got a dewback back here, a 1977 Star Wars action figure dewback. If you're wondering what that is,
that's pretty fantastic. Did you say what is that?
It's a 1977 vintage Kenner dewback.
They made one of those in 77?
Yeah, or 78. Probably 78, actually. You're right. 78.
Okay.
Yeah. I found that at a antique shop here locally. You wouldn't really call it pop culture antique shop here locally in Nashville. Okay. The Great Escape. It's a lot of fun. Good stuff.
That place looks a lot different than it used to. When I was growing up, that was a dingy little whatever, and they've kind of bumped up the energy in there, haven't they?
It's still pretty dingy, but it's dingy in the best way possible. I mean, it's dingy in the awesome way, You're going to go in there and find some treasures. There's albums coming out the ears. There's, comic books coming out the ears. There's all kind of stuff. It's fun. Well, I love going in there.
How was your Father's Day? It's the Monday after. Yesterday was Father's Day. You had a Father's Day weekend, right?
I did. Had a great Father's Day, man. Played some golf on Saturday. Poorly, I might say, but playing golf is better than working, right? Isn't that what they say? A bad day on the golf course is better than a good day in the office.
It just depends on who you talk to, Kyle.
I don't believe that one bit. I'm just, it's a phrase. Yeah. It's a thing they say.
Sure.
But I had a great time with the family. We saw a movie that we'll talk about tonight, yesterday. So yeah, it was good. How about yourself, man?
I had a great Father's Day. The girls bought me an album. Maybe they got it from Great Escape. I don't know. I was very excited to hold the vinyl in my hand. It was very cool.
What was it?
It was the Avett Brothers, I and Love and You, which is a fantastic album, produced by none other than Rickery Rubin.
Oh, so, I believe with all my heart that I saw him in West End at Nukes, the sandwich shop Nukes.
Yeah.
Because big old beard, hair, sitting at his table with his sandwich, what was left of it, and working away on his computer, just mixing music right there in Nukes. I was like, dang, Rick Rubin.
Could be, or he could have been selling you a copy of The Contributor next to the interstate. You wouldn't know which.
Either way. Very, very possible. Very possible.
We've got a lot going on this week. We got not one movie, not one summer spectacular, not two summer spectaculars, but we've got 3 separate summer movies that we're covering tonight.
Yes. So it occurred to us that these movies that we all saw are all on one level or another remakes of an original property of some sort.
Yeah, in some sort.
Yeah, so we're like, let's do a remake episode. Let's do an episode where instead of doing one movie the whole time, which we have we did that with the Thunderbolts. We did that with Mission Impossible. And by the way, I rewatched Mission Impossible, and you were too harsh.
No.
You were too harsh. Now, I'm telling you. It's okay. Look, as Mission Impossibles go,
hold on.
It's number 7 of 8. All right.
Who am I right now?
I know you're Ron Swanson in his death scene. But you were too harsh.
No,
it was not a bad movie. You were like, great stunts, bad movie. And it was not that. It was not
you
bad.
Asked for a 5-second review.
I know. I was just reiterating that.
Okay.
Reiterating that.
All right.
Anyway, so 3 different movies, all remakes of original properties. and it's going to be exciting. So we haven't done this yet. So
yeah, do you like remakes? Where do you fall on the remake team? It seems like Hollywood is full of unoriginal ideas, and a lot of people have that critique. But what about a remake?
Man, that's a good question. I feel like I get excited for them, and then I'm just about always let down. Is like when I think about a movie that's been remade, or like a revival of some sort. I feel like that's going to be cool, and then I go see it, and I'm like, that was not good.
Yeah,
that's how I feel most. That's my impression.
Yeah,
now, there's a few exceptions to that, but what about you? What do you feel about them?
My new favorite thing in life is the Lonely Island Seth Meyers podcast. I have been binging the stew out of it. And what they essentially do is they go from the beginning of the Lonely Island's career on SNL, and they have a episode for every short or every episode that they were on. And they kind of recap each episode. They talk about things that they did, and they're revisiting a lot of the stuff that they used to do. And so because of that, they get a lot of, ooh, wish we never made that. And I do think with a lot of the older films, there's some nostalgia and there's some rose-colored glasses that we see these movies with. And so we think the original is so much better. And then we go back and we watch the old stuff and we're like, eh. And I think that it's interesting to think about some of the opportunities that some of the remakes have to kind of, what if they did it through fresh eyes, or what if they did it through newer culture, different kind of perspective. And I think there's some big winners and some big losers. And I think there's some films that for whatever reason weren't really that big of a deal back in the day, or for us have nothing to do with our pop culture that now has come back in, and they've done it recently in the last couple of decades, and they've kind of done a refresh, and they were really good films. And so I think you can have big swings and you can have big hits, and you can also have big misses. And so I'm kind of I'm open-minded to the possibility of a good remake.
Yeah. Well, what would you give an example of, like, this was a good remake to you? Just, I mean, it doesn't mean it
I've got
won
3
Oscars. You got 3? Okay. What you got?
3 that I think are great remakes.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me, out of a scale of 3 to 1, right? Number 3 for me would be A Star Is Born. Okay. I thought that the Bradley Cooper, I mean, that movie's been remade like 3 or 4 times, or however many times.
Yeah. And I think the first one was in the 40s or something.
Yeah. I thought that this one with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga was fantastic. And it was a great refresh. I didn't have really a opinion on the old ones. I knew it was kind of a sad story, and I thought that they nailed it. And I thought the music was great. And I think the musical charts would agree with me on that. You can still hear In the Shallows probably somewhere playing right now.
Yeah. I did not love that movie, but I thought it was, at the very least, I thought it was well made.
Yes. Number 2 for me, True Grit. The original didn't really do anything for me because I was not around really for the John Wayne era. And so Jeff Daniels for me was fantastic. Matt Damon was fantastic. And
Jeff Bridges.
Oh yeah, sorry, Jeff Bridges.
You went Jeff Daniels, and I was like, wait, Dumb and Dumber? No,
but then
Jeff Bridges.
Haley Steinfeld was a revelation for me. I thought that was the first time we ever met her, and so for me,
first role. Yeah,
that's an excellent remake. Of course, the number 1 remake that I have.
Well, hang on, let me talk about that for a second. Okay. I want to jump in before you go to number 1. That was a John Wayne film, but it was a novel before that. And from what I understand, the Coen brothers decided to be faithful to the novel versus faithful to, the original film adaptation. But my dad is speaking of Father's Day, my dad loves John Wayne. His favorite movie of all time is this movie called Hatari from like 1961 or something, where John Wayne and these guys live in Africa and they're collecting wild animals for zoos in America, so like going after rhinos and giraffes and stuff. And like he saw it when he was a child, and it's just that it's like, it's Star Wars for him. It's like he remembers, like how that movie made him feel, seeing those animals on the big screen. And so there was a season when I was probably 10 or so, that's when, Blockbuster Video, he was bringing home all these John Wayne movies and showing me all these movies, and so I kind of had a little John Wayne phase. I was like, yeah, that's good. But, if you read any list of like legendary, performances or movies that all these other movies are based on and stuff, one that always pops up is a John Wayne film called The Searchers. Have you ever heard of The Searchers or seen The Searchers? I watched it a couple of nights ago. Well, it's a couple of weeks ago at this point. John Wayne movie, one of the greatest films ever. Man, it was awful. It was so bad.
Plot twist. I didn't see that coming. I was like, what's he going to say about this film?
I was so disappointed because I was expecting greatness, you know?
I do think that movies are made to be a time capsule into that moment. And
it was definitely of a time. Yes.
And so I think it would be pretty interesting to have an episode, Kyle, where we watched some of our dad's favorite films and did a review of like our dad's favorite films. That could be a lot of fun because I know what my dad's, we've already talked about it. I know what one of my dad's favorite films are. And you've got, what'd you call it? Hitachi? Is that what you said?
Hatari. Okay. Hatari. It's the Swahili word for danger.
Ooh. Danger.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good. I enjoyed it when I was a kid. It was fun.
So before I unveil my number one remake, do you have any on your list that you would mention?
We certainly don't have to talk about it, but as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, what's a remake? Well, I mean, Mission Impossible, like the whole series, a remake of a TV show, Star Trek, when they would redo Star Trek. So I enjoyed some of those things. Yeah. Like they took a TV show and then they made a continuation of the story.
Star Wars Episode 7 remake.
It's the best of the sequel. It's the best of the sequels.
That's because it's A New Hope, basically, right?
It's not. It's
okay. Let's keep it on the rails.
Let's hear your number one. I'm excited to hear this.
Any guesses?
Man, Matt LeBlanc, 1998, Lost in Space.
No, but not bad. The Netflix Lost in Space is much better. I don't really remember what the time frame is of this, but I'd say this movie's a little newer. It has a number in it.
A number. Oh man.
And a body of water.
Pacific One or something. What was that movie with John Boyega from Star Wars?
Ocean's 11 is my favorite remake.
Ocean's 11. Good call. Good call.
That's a fantastic film.
Yeah. I watched a piece of the original of that, the old Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin. And I was like, I'm really glad I got the George Clooney version first. Yeah. It was not good. No. I didn't think it was very good.
I mean, where else can we watch Brad Pitt eat food?
Hey, there's a great story about that we may get to when we get to one of our reviews that I heard recently about the set, a story from the set of Ocean's 11. We'll see if we get to it in this.
Well, I need to look at our order of service here. Okay, it's time looks like we're into the introing the three films and kind of what we're looking at today. Do you want to take one?
Let's tell the people. Let's tell the people what we've seen. So we watched three movies. Mm-hmm. If you follow our social media, you know what they are already. But I think let's do them in order in which we saw them. The first one that we actually saw together, again, second time in a couple of weeks, we saw a movie together. Yeah. On my birthday, we saw Karate Kid Legends.
Kid Legends.
Very spur of the moment, spontaneous. I had to take the day off from work, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm just going to go see this movie." And you're like, "Well, I'm not far. I'll go." Yeah. So I was like, "Sweet, yes."
It was nice to see you on your birthday and celebrate that way. So I loved it.
We'll talk about what we think about the movie. We hadn't talked a whole lot about. I don't know how you feel about it, so I'll be real curious to see. So that was the first one. We saw Karate Kid Legends on my birthday,
and then number two was we're heading into the part of the evening where we discuss live action remakes. Yes. So we've got two of those. We watched Lilo and Stitch. I saw it opening weekend, I believe. I don't know. I think you saw it maybe a little bit later.
Yeah, it's about a week after release, I believe. Yeah. Still a packed theater with children screaming, unable to sit still. But
And then this weekend, we had the release of How to Train Your Dragon live action.
Yes.
And with Gerard Butler reprising his role in both the animated version and the live action, which I thought was pretty cool.
I don't want to step on what we get to talk about here in a few minutes, but it made me excited. I don't know why, but it made me excited for the Maui, The Rock playing Maui in the live action Moana, because he's playing Maui and he does the voice of Maui. So I thought, hey, this could work. It could possibly work. So, we'll see. But that was interesting. It was fun that he got to actually, play a role of someone that he voiced. Thought that was cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how do you want to go about today? Do you have an idea of how we can tackle these? We can tackle these reviews, these three.
Yeah, one of the things that we do is we try to keep each other on our toes. Sometimes we don't always talk a lot about it. So I thought it might be fun if we do this kind of random.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell my onboard AI here that we call Siri to guess a number between 1 through 3. Okay. And let's do them in that order. So it's
do them chronologically.
Yeah. 1 is Karate Kid. 2 is Lilo. 3 is How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hey Siri, tell me a number between 1 through 3. I didn't test pilot this to see if it'd work.
A random number between 1 and 3 is 1.
1.
Okay.
All right. So we're starting with Karate Kid.
Yeah. Karate Kid.
We're starting with Karate Kid. Here we go.
You want to you want me to give a synopsis? You want to give a synopsis?
Yeah. Tell us just a quick synopsis of the plot. Tell us what the story's a little bit about, and then we'll dive into some of the background of Karate Kid.
Yeah. So Karate Kid Legends starts with in China. Jackie Chan is at his training facility. He's got kids everywhere, and we come to find out that Jackie Chan's nephew. So Jackie Chan's sister, his family is involved, and his nephew is there cleaning up the place, and the mom shows up and says, "Hey, we're moving to America, and you can't teach my kid karate," or something to that effect. Kung fu. And we get kind of a reverse story of a young Chinese teenager heading to New York City and trying to adapt there. And as he's adapting there, it's very much a play-by-play at the beginning of the original Karate Kid, where he's kind of trying to get into a group, meets a girl, bully. Story proceeds very traditionally as far as Karate Kid goes. There's some twists and some elements that are a little bit different, but it's a very true to the original retelling in a reverse order from cultures and things like that.
Yeah, premise very reverse.
Yeah,
same premise, but
so there's some surprises.
Yeah,
it's a very efficient 47-minute movie, I think. Isn't that about right?
It wasn't much longer. It was pretty quick. Yeah, it was like 97 minutes. Yeah. It was very fast. I think that's how I talked you into seeing it with me. I was like, Jay, it's only 97 minutes. Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah. And you're like, all right, I'll come.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty good summation. One of the things that we learned though is that Mr. Han, who's Jackie Chan's character, has a connection to Mr. Miyagi, who was the sensei, the mentor from Daniel-san in the original. And the beginning is actually pretty cool. It shows some actual footage from Karate Kid 2 when Daniel and Miyagi go to Okinawa. And Miyagi tells the story of how Miyagi karate started and from his ancestor and all this stuff. And he got intoxicated, I believe, and ended up on the shore in China.
Sake was an important part of the story.
Sake was involved.
Yeah.
Yes. And, he ended up on he went fishing and he ended up on the shore of China, and there he learned Kung Fu and brought it back home. So one tree, two branches was sort of the theme of the movie. One branch stronger, though, as we learned.
And,
from Mr. Han.
As far as Karate Kid goes and remakes, there's a lot of important kind of things in our growing up. The first one was made, Kyle, I'm
84.
So 84, which means I'm 7, 8, you're 6, 7, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And it is kind of optimal VCR viewing. I mean, that's the thing that everybody watched over and over and over. And
yeah. Formative.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember the first time I saw it. I was at some type of conference with my parents, and they shoved all the kids in a room or whatever. And they're like, entertain them for a couple hours while we do a conference thing in the other room. And they rolled in a TV VCR on wheels, like whenever that happened in elementary school, it was like party time. And they popped in Karate Kid, and that's the first time I saw it. It was amazing.
And as far as the history goes, I think it's important to remember that bullies were somewhat of a real thing in 1984, 1985. Like most of our growing up, bullies were a real thing. I mean, there used to be guys in the hallway that would try to trip you on the way to lunch. Like, I mean, it was real. And so as a kid, when you watch that and you see it live, in the theater, you're like, oh yeah, this is like my life. And so like watching, Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san kind of team up and learn and go through all the things he did and get disciplined and then kind of overcome, like, is a very inspirational kind of story to kind of face your fears. And so very positive messaging for 1984.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean it was totally real. I would ride my bike to the Mike Sports Collectibles, which was like the baseball card shop, and there were these kids on their bikes. I was always trying to avoid those kids on the bike, and they'd be like, "Hey, you, come here!" And I just go as fast as I could to the baseball card shop, get away from those kids.
Yeah.
It was totally real, but yeah, I mean it was very, very different back then.
And since then, we've had Karate Kid 2.
Yep.
We've had Karate Kid
3.
Was Karate Kid 3 him? Daniel?
Yeah,
okay.
It was Daniel. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I don't have any memory of that memory of Karate Kid 3.
I saw it once, and that was in Birmingham with Greg Jackson.
Yeah.
He was like, "Let's watch it." So that's the only time I've ever seen it in all my life.
And then we had Hilary Swank Karate Kid. What was that called?
Yeah, I think it was called The Next Karate Kid.
The Next Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Then we had Will Smith's kid. We had Jaden Smith.
Yeah,
and
that was just The Karate Kid.
The Karate Kid, and that's where Jackie Chan entered the scene. And that was African American kid from New York moving to China, and so on and so forth. Right?
Yes, as far as I remember, I don't believe I've ever seen that one start to finish. I've seen pieces of it, but never seen it start to finish. Yeah.
I enjoyed that one a lot. That was probably, I don't know, top 2 or 3 of Karate Kid experiences for me. But we all know I have an affinity for all things Smith.
You love Will.
Yeah.
You're very forgiving. Very forgiving. You've kept his name out of his mouth, though. I butchered that joke, but I tried.
We all know what you're talking about. We don't have to bring it up, Kyle. Gosh. And then in recent history, there has been Cobra Kai, which has started on YouTube and then ended up Netflix. They've had 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah.
And so
it just wrapped up.
Yeah, and from what I understand, Karate Kid Legends was made and supposed to finish after the Cobra Kai. It was supposed to be after Cobra Kai, and it was been made. It's been kind of wandering around in limbo for a little while because Cobra Kai ended up, because of I guess COVID or something, took a little longer to kind of run its course, and so because of that, this movie's been around a little bit before it came out. There was a little bit of confusion as to when it was come out, and makes me wonder a little bit about editing and as far as the length of the movie goes, like what may or may not have happened.
Yeah. I went in. We're almost getting to the point where we need to start talking about it. I went in thinking it'd have a lot more connective tissue to Cobra Kai.
Yeah. So do we want to do a 30-second review and then jump in, or do we want to talk about it? What do you want to do?
Let's do 30-second reviews and then let's talk about it after that.
Okay.
So, and because then after that we can go pull full on spoiler.
Yeah, I've not really prepared for this.
Nor have I. Let's
see.
just wing it. If it's 15 seconds, if it's 40 seconds, let's just see what happens.
All right, I like it.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first? You want me to go?
I'll go first. First. Yeah. You count me down, brother.
Yep. 3. We'll go from 5. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the 30-second review of Karate Kid Legend from Kyle Wiltshire. Go.
Karate Kid Legends works really hard to try to make you feel excited about Karate Kid again, and it just kind of falls short. It was haphazardly edited, which you just mentioned, I feel, and it just sort of didn't have the heart that some of the other Karate Kid films and stories have had, in my opinion. So I don't feel very strongly about this film.
Okay, that was 27 seconds. Not bad.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great, but it was, it's how I feel about it.
Yeah. If you were to give it a lightning bolt rating on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 lightning bolts being like barely a thunderstorm, and 5 lightning bolts being pure rock and roll, where would you land it, Kyle?
Like 2.25. And it's probably would only be 2. The quarter is just because I got to see Ralph Macchio as Daniel's son one more time. So 2.25, not strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me get my my timer up so I can time you.
Yeah.
All right. You tell me when you're ready. Boom.
I'm ready.
All right. 3 J's 30-second review of Karate Kid Legends. 3, 2, 1, go.
Karate Kid Legends is a movie that's a little bit lost in time. I don't know that the traditional Karate Kid story of bullies and fighting and solving your problems with fighting is really a thing that exists anymore in our day and age. And so it felt a little antiquated for me to solve problems the way that they did. I also think that the action was better than most Karate Kid movies as far as fight scenes go. The plot wasn't the worst, but it felt like I was watching an hour-long TV show more so than a movie.
31 seconds. That's pretty good, dude.
And for me, I would give Karate Kid Legends a 2 lightning bolts out of 5 rating. 2 lightning bolts.
2 lightning bolts. Okay. Yeah.
I didn't hate the film. It felt innocuous. It felt, I thought that there were some things that they did. I wish I would have mentioned, is it Joshua Jackson? Is that
Josh Jackson? Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I'd have mentioned that.
Pacey.
But like,
Dawson's Creek.
Let's get into some spoilers already.
Spoiler zone. Here we go. Boom. Spoiler time.
Boom.
Here we, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler warning. I think that they needed an excuse for action. Mm-hmm. And so they bumped up all these fight scenes, and it was a little bit ridiculous. Like,
over the top. Yeah.
Yeah. So bookies were after Josh Jackson, loan sharks.
Yeah.
And what is his name? Cheese Whiz or Stuffed Crust?
Stuffed Crust. Yeah. But the character's name was Lee. Like that was his name. But yeah, they called him Stuffed Crust, which was a pretty great gag. That was a pretty good joke.
I didn't mind that at all. I don't think they explained much of it really. It just kind of happened. And Josh Jackson was a fighter, but then he wanted to get better. And then there was another fight, a chance to win. And then he's in the hospital. Like it just all happened so fast.
Yeah.
That none of it felt really earned. The closest thing to it feeling earned was the date where they got to go around New York on the bike and all that. I thought that was really well done and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought that the kids were age appropriate in a sense, and they didn't try to age them up too fast, or, they did that pretty well. I didn't care for, the freedom with which the bully reigned in 2025. I think we talked about that a little bit. I don't know if you want to comment on that.
He kind of beat Lee up, Stuffed Crust. Like he kind of beat him up on the subway
in front of like 100 people.
A lot of witnesses. It happened at school. Like they had an all-out brawl at school, and the teachers were just like, "Hey, you!" I mean, of course, that's very Cobra Kai. I know you haven't watched any Cobra Kai, but there's about 6, just like all-out school brawl, Royal Rumbles in that series where it's like, kids are falling off stairwells and seriously injured and all kinds, like, people needing plastic surgery to repair the scars they've gained from these fights. I mean, stupid over the top stuff. But so it was way below the junk from Cobra Kai. But yeah, it was still way ridiculous for where we are in 2025.
Jackie Chan was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, would you want your kids to watch it?
I mean, I wouldn't feel totally like it's objectionable. Like the content was objectionable, I don't remember, there wasn't a whole lot of profanity or, it wasn't like off color like that. It wasn't great. I don't want to expose them to stuff that's not real, especially something that I love, like the Karate Kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, I went in expecting the formula. And like you said, it did start off very formulaic, just like Karate Kid. He moves from New Jersey to California. He's a fish out of water. He's got to learn to navigate things. He meets a girl. She's cute. He wants to get to know her. Turns out she's dating this other guy, and boom, now you got a plot. Mm-hmm. That was the first 5 minutes of the movie there, and it set up the whole thing.
It was
this one. Yeah, what do you say? It was lean, yeah, but it set it up perfectly, and you could relate, to Daniel. Well, this one, he's in karate, he's in China. He's a kung fu kind of student. I think seems like a really good student. Something happened to his brother. Something we hadn't mentioned yet. Something that happened to his brother. It seemed like his brother was killed, but we don't really know the details of what happened to his brother. And his mom, who I believe is a physician, takes a job in America, has to come to America, leaves, Mr. Han with, Lee's uncle. and goes to America. And like you said, fish out of water. He speaks fluent English. So he's not, so he's not like a language barrier, but he goes into a pizza shop, wants stuffed crust. That's how they got his nickname. They're like, hey, we don't serve stuffed crust here in New York, But I got to say, the best part of the movie to me, honestly, was the Josh Jackson part, because I didn't see it coming. That's where it totally went in a different direction that I felt was very refreshing. I was anticipating this whole film of the same thing. He's going to wax on, wax off, Jackie Chan style. Take your jacket off, take your jacket on, like Jaden Smith had to do. But it wasn't that at all. He shows up and, it's a little incongruent. He gets his butt kicked in the schoolyard by the bully, and the bully's not even using his hands. He's like, I can beat you without my hands. And he annihilates him. Well, then he shows up in an alley 2 minutes later in the movie, and he beats like 3 guys up, 2 or 3 guys, he's like a cartoon character swinging off ladders and stuff.
It was like a Jackie Chan film.
It really was like Jackie Chan. Yeah. And he's amazing. And Josh Jackson sees him, is like, hey, I think you can help me. And that's the whole thing you talked about, how he's a fighter, and he started a family, so he decided not to box anymore. When I say fighter, like boxer, not like cage fighter or karate. He's a boxer, and so he's like, you can train me. And so now he's training him. And I thought that was really refreshing, really cool. And so he was the one doing the, hey, let's use the pizza. You run a pizza shop. Let's use the pizza making to teach you Kung Fu, So I thought that was kind of fun, kind of refreshing. And it was like, up until Jackie Chan showed up, everything up until that point, I was like, this is really trending in a way that I'm encouraged by. When Jackie Chan shows up, and then Jackie Chan convinces Daniel to come help him train, because, like I said, 2 branches, 1 tree. There was really no reason apart from it was a karate tournament, and Jackie Chan doesn't teach, or Mr. Han doesn't teach karate, he teaches Kung Fu. So he needs the side of the family branch that teaches karate. So go get Daniel's son.
Would have appreciated 30 seconds on why Kung Fu is different than karate. And as we're talking about this film that we probably should be spending this much time talking about, they did kind of explain it. They just didn't say it. And I think a 30 seconds of exposition probably would have really helped. Kung Fu is use everything you've got around you. I mean, if we're using the logic of the movie, everything is Kung Fu, and karate has rules. Yeah. And so he couldn't use Kung Fu because he couldn't score points, I guess. And maybe, but see, that doesn't even really work, because the main bad guy kicked the stew out of him a couple of times.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's head chest or something.
Yeah.
That's
probably
my
biggest problem with the whole film is like, why is Ralph Macchio here? Yeah. And even that, like, it's the dumbest part of the whole movie. Jackie Chan like goes from New York to California, shows up and is like, I need you to come help. And he's like, I can't. He's like, oh, you'll be there. And then like, he just was.
He just shows up. Yeah. It's like he Jedi mind tricked him without using the Force, See, that's where I feel like there was some stuff that probably got edited. Some of the Cobra Kai stuff, because
maybe
in Cobra Kai. Yeah, maybe. Well, my hopeful side.
Yeah.
In Cobra Kai, at the very end of the movie, remember, spoiler, you actually get to see the star of Cobra Kai, who is Billy Zabka, his Johnny, Daniel's rival in the original Karate Kid. They become buddies, basically, through the course of Cobra Kai. And you get to see him. So I thought there would be something like he'd have a conversation with his wife, who is a character in the Cobra Kai, or his kids, or some of the students that he trained in Cobra Kai, and they'd be like, "You need to go help this. You need to go help him." Something that would change his mind. This is a kid who needs your help, and that's what you do. You go help kids who need help. Yeah. But there was nothing. He just shows up in the doorstep and he trains him. They have a couple of street fights. They have, he and Jackie Chan spar a little bit. They do a really good job of not letting you see Macchio. The stunt double went against Jackie Chan, But,
I don't know. Jackie Chan's also 100 and can barely. He's probably like a professional wrestler, and like what he's actually got left in his joints.
Oh, but he's still so good. You can sometimes tell that's Jackie Chan doing that.
Yeah,
and he might be 70, but he's still got it, man.
Well,
we've
still got 2 good films that I do want to talk about.
Yes, so, we do. Yeah,
I think a way to wrap it up is like harmless television that's maybe lost the time.
Yeah. I would say this, as harsh as I can say, it's just a money grab. It's like Cobra Kai was very successful. It started off really strong. First season was excellent, and then it declined from there, but it was very popular. And so like, hey, there's nostalgia, there's popularity. Let's do this movie. People will go see it. Yeah. I think it made $50 million, so they probably got back their budget.
Okay.
So yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Do we just want to go to the next one, or do you want to do a random?
Let's just go
number?
next one. Since
All right.
well, since it kicked off, we'll go to the next one.
All right. Lilo and Stitch it is then.
Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a little synopsis?
Sure.
I'm happy to if you want me to.
Yeah, I'll go for it. I'll go for it. So Lilo and Stitch, remake of the classic cartoon from the early 2000s. Oddly enough, I don't know the exact date, maybe 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. Is a story of an alien who was created to be sort of a world destroying, menace to society. And Stitch, the alien, is not called that at the time. He's called, is he 616 or 626?
626.
626. He gets sent to Earth as sort of like being banished. And two aliens are there to, actually, no, he escapes to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And two aliens are there to track him down. And they're the comic relief. One of them is Zach Galifianakis. And they take the form of humans. And they're trying to catch him. Well, Lilo gets Stitch gets adopted by a young little girl, I think about 6 years old, named Lilo, who's a bit of an outcast herself. Doesn't have a lot of friends and is looking for friends. It's set in Hawaii, very beautiful. She has an older sister who's raising her because her parents had passed away. And there's sort of this tension with the home services. Are they going to take Lilo and then she's going to have to be raised in a foster home or something? That kind of sets up the movie. So Lilo finds Stitch and then hilarity ensues.
Yeah, that's good. I was a big fan of the 2002 film.
Did you look it up? Was it 2002?
Yeah, no.
Okay. I was close.
You were right on it, as usual, right on it. I was a big fan. I really enjoy the story that it tells. I enjoy the broken family aspect and like having to kind of put things together. And Ohana, is that what it is? Ohana
means no one ever gets left behind.
Yeah. I thought it was a really different Disney movie at the time when it came out. It was a little edgier in some ways. And, I was pretty excited when I saw the live action remake and the trailer. I thought that it looked a lot of fun. And so I was pretty excited going into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of history with Lilo and Stitch. So, my kids didn't ever really watch it. In fact, my daughter, I wanted to see it. And so I was trying to encourage my daughter, and she had never even seen the original. And so I was like, hey, why don't you check out the original and see if if you'd like to see it? And she finally was like, yeah, okay, we'll go see that. So we ended up seeing that together. And so I didn't have a whole lot. Maybe I watched it start to finish at some point along the way. I know I've seen, bits and pieces. So I didn't have a whole lot of history with it. I didn't have a whole lot of expectation. I was just hoping to be entertained, really, when I saw it.
And the original had this tie-in with Elvis music that I don't know that had ever really been done in recent years or times when that came out. And so it was kind of an interesting take on a Disney movie all the way around. Like, it wasn't original music. It was this kind of quirky story. It was very interesting to me when it came out. And so I was excited about the live action remake. And I don't know that I've been really excited about any of the live action remakes. I mean, I think I watched The Lion King and was like, like I didn't see Beauty and the Beast. I didn't see Snow White. I think that came out pretty recently. Have they done a Little Mermaid? Did they do that already too?
Oh yeah. Everything. They've done it all to varying degrees of quality. I mean, Tim Burton did Dumbo. Tom Hanks was Geppetto in Pinocchio. I mean, they've done them all at this point. It's really pretty awful. They've done 2 Lion Kings. I thought the first one wasn't bad. The second one was the first ever live action direct to DVD that's ever come out. Like they used to have those direct to DVD sequels for Disney movies, and they were just awful.
It went straight to Disney Plus.
Yes. Okay. Well, even before then, it was like different voice actors and things, and the plot was really janky.
You're talking about the second Lion King cartoon.
Yeah, I'm talking like any of them. They did like Cinderella 2 and stuff. And they were all direct to VHS or DVD. Yeah. That was that Simba movie, or that Mufasa movie that came out at Christmas. That was the first live action direct to DVD. I mean, it was that quality. It was so bad. My opinion, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have been pretty well misses when it comes to
I haven't had to see them. I mean, I think they've made money and they've been money grabs, as you say, but like I haven't had to see them because my kids are older and I don't really, if I don't want to go see it, I don't go see it. And you've been in a different phase of life. You have a younger daughter. And so, you want to take her to some of these things. And for me, this was one that I voluntarily went to and was excited to go to.
Well, there's a quandary. The quandary of the live action remake is, do you just A to A remake it?
Mm-hmm.
Just same script with live people and, and CGI and whatever. Or do you say, well, let's tweak it a little bit. Let's get crazy. Mulan was very different. The basic plot was similar, but there's a lot of different plot elements in the Mulan remake that was like, what are they doing? Same with Snow White that came out a few weeks. I've not seen it yet, but I've heard they just take it in really strange directions or different directions, I should say, than the originals. And then some of them like The Lion King, apart from like a new song that Beyonce sings, was pretty much one for one remake. The script wasn't exactly the same, but it was close enough where you're like, oh, okay, they just redid it, with CGI animals instead of cartoon.
Well, and I guess in a way that some of these one-to-one remakes are kind of important because the older films are not really that particularly visually appealing. They're pretty, but like kids today are used to a whole lot more than they used to be. And so they're kind of upping their game with some of these classics.
Yeah. Even, like one of the greatest intros in film history is 1994 Lion King, with all the animals coming, I mean, it still gives me chills even now, but you go back and watch it and, some of the animation, like the giraffe has kind of got a smiley face a little bit, it's just like, it doesn't look quite as cool as a CGI giraffe showing up, to drink out of the pond. And then everybody bow down to the new prince who's been born.
I think you just took the argument of, is it a GIF or is it a GIF into, is it a giraffe or giraffe? Just
or a giraffe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the Nickelback. Look at this graph. Have you ever heard that? Have you ever seen that? Look at this photograph. I've heard people turn it. Look at this photograph. Look at this giraffe. It's pretty good stuff.
Well, do we want to do a 30-second review?
Yeah, I'll let you go first on this one. I need to formulate some thoughts a little bit here. But yeah, if you're ready.
Yeah.
All right. I made myself choke myself up singing Look at This Photograph. All right, here we go. Jay Watson's 30-second review of live action Lilo and Stitch in 3, 2, 1, go.
Lilo and Stitch 2025 live action is a very fun movie. I think the themes that are around Lilo and Stitch hold true today. And it's very, very important to talk about the goodness or badness of a person, on the fact of how they can be loved and how love can change someone and make someone better. And I love that theme. I love that direction. And I had a lot of fun watching a live action Stitch do what Stitch does. And that is just mess things up and enjoy it. So for me, I would give it 3 lightning bolts.
All right. 3 lightning bolts. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready. I don't know if I'll take 30 seconds, but we'll see. I'm going to do my best.
Ready?
All right. Yeah. You
Kyle
tell me
Wiltshire's 30-second review of Lilo and Stitch live action in 3, 2, 1.
The bottom line is Lilo and Stitch live action 2025 is for children. It's not for Kyle Wiltshire. I did not enjoy it as much as I'd kind of hoped. It wasn't bad. I wasn't like, oh, I hate this every second of it. No, it wasn't that at all. I just didn't really enjoy the hijinks. I didn't enjoy the slapstick as much as I, enjoy comedy in other films. I enjoyed the theme of redemption, of love, like you said. But the bottom line is, here's the bottom line, Jay Watson. There wasn't enough Elvis.
How many lightning bolts?
I would say 2.5 lightning bolts.
2.5 lightning bolts. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And that truly is my biggest critique for me, for Kyle J. Wiltshire. More Elvis. I wanted more Elvis because Elvis was ubiquitous in the original.
It was there, and it was there. It was throughout. It's interesting that you said that about the hijinks because I enjoy how Stitch enjoys being bad. Like I thought, that scene where he says whatever he says to the crowd at the beginning and they all lose their minds and people are throwing up and that's so great. Funny. And then the way he picks on that girl and steals her Jeep and like driving around, like the glee with which he's bad is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And so like, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the Godzilla, you know, through the thing. I enjoyed them being mischievous. I enjoyed Lilo being in the hot tub, sneaking in and out of resorts. I would imagine if you lived in Kauai where they did that would be a thing that local kids maybe did. And so like, that was fun for me in a lot of ways, but I can definitely understand where you're coming from. Kids movie.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't bad at all. It just wasn't my cup of tea is the bottom line.
What did your kids think?
They enjoyed it. You know, now my kids are starting to get a little older. My daughter's 11. And so she enjoyed it. She had a good time. She laughed, but it wasn't, I don't think she would have loved it as much as if she were 8 watching this, you know? And my boys, you know, thought it was funny. Now I enjoyed thoroughly, seeing like he's like going on vacation in Hawaii for 90 minutes. It was beautiful, beautiful surf, beautiful, you know, mountains and lush green valleys and beautiful ocean, all that. So I like that part of it, the getaway. And also like, I really enjoyed the Tia Carrere callback. I thought that was really fun that she came in as the social worker versus she was the sister in the original. I thought that was really neat.
So one of the things about the original 2002 Lilo and Stitch was the presentation and the portrayal of what people looked like in that film. It was one of the first Disney movies where there was a Disney main character, a princess that didn't look like she was a Barbie or
and she was brown too. She had dark skin.
She was brown and she was normal looking. She had larger legs than, you know, the stick kind of model version. And it was interesting to me because I felt like they attempted in a way to do similar things in this film. The people were pretty. They were Hollywood versions, but they're also normal looking. The girl that was the main character, it was her first film. She looked like a kid. She looked like a normal kid, how a normal kid's supposed to look. And I like that. And the sister looked like somebody who would be a working sister who was trying to kind of take care of her sister after her parents had died. And she looked like she was supposed to look. And so I think there's some important things that are there. The things that they're trying to tell, I think they did a good job doing it. You know, the alien portions of it, Billy Magnuson and Zach Galifianakis, fine for me. Like it was just fine. It was a really good kids movie. It's probably where I would make it land.
Yeah. I really did enjoy the performance of Lilo, the young actress who played Lilo. You got to imagine she's acting against a tennis ball or something, you know, because Lilo, I mean, there may have been a stuffed animal Lilo or something that she was acting against, but her facial expressions and her, you know, her amazement and amusement and all the ways that she reacted and interacted with a CGI, you know, alien was fantastic. I'm like, look out for this girl. She's going to have a career because if she's this good at age 6 or however old she is, I mean, she really could be a strong performer one day. I mean, she already is a strong performer, but I mean, you know, like as an adult, as she ages,
it'll be interesting to see if she has a career or not because she definitely can act.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was fun. It really was fun.
It was fun.
But I mean it. I was really needing some more Elvis. I wanted more Elvis. I told my kids when we left, you know, the closing song was, and we never did. Boom! Spoiler warning. The closing song is the "Hunk Hunk and Burning Love," I think. And and Stitch is in the
no temperatures rising.
And higher than ever before. But he's in his little Elvis his jumpsuit, you know, and I was like, fine, thank you. I was so glad we got some Elvis as the as more Elvis as the film went on. But yeah, kids movie, a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's kind of where I land on it. All right. Let's if you're okay with it, I'm ready for number 3.
Let's do it. How to Train Your Dragon.
Number 3. I'll slip a synopsis out there.
You do the synopsis. I feel like you have a little bit more connection to this film than I have had in the past. So yeah, go for it.
I don't remember when the cartoon came out. I'm going to say similar, maybe 05, 07, 08, somewhere in there.
I think it was 2010, I believe. I looked it up earlier today.
That sounds about right. My girls are 5 at that point, and so it's kind of something that's showing up in their younger years as the sequels are coming out, and then the TV series. It was right there in the wheelhouse for us going to see movies when the girls are kids. How to Train Your Dragon is a story about coming of age. It's a story about learning who you are, what you believe in, and who you're going to be. And then it's also kind of measuring up to your family and the people that are ahead of you. Are you like them? Are you different than them? Are you accepted by them? Chasing after the footsteps of your father and the relationship between the father and son. And then also, I would say a little bit of being open to accepting people that are a little bit different than you would be a little bit one of the more subversive themes, I think, of this film. That's not right on the immediate top layer.
Yeah. Are you willing to rethink everything you've believed? Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you willing to do something that like bothers you that everybody else is okay with? And so it's a really interesting thing to kind of deal with, like your inner compass and like your integrity, your truth, I don't want to get too hippy dippy or anything, but like there's some really heavy themes that are kind of in this film, and with that, a really fun story as well. It was interesting to see the live action. I don't know if we want to dip into 30-second review and then spoiler warning, or how you want to do it. But I'm ready to talk about it. I got to see it today, and so it's a little fresh for me.
Very fresh. Well, I saw it just 2 days ago, so it's very fresh for me as well. Let's do it. Let's do 30-second reviews. Okay. You want to go first?
What's that?
You want to go first? You want me to?
Yeah, I can go first.
All right. Let me get my, I shouldn't have turned this off. All right. I'm ready if you are. Jay Watson's 30-second review of How to Train Your Dragon live action 2025 in 3, 2, 1, go.
How to Train Your Dragon live action for 2025 for me was a film that I didn't realize that I was skeptical about when I walked into it. I thought I was excited to see it. And the second the movie started and we had this image of Burke, the place where they lived, I was already starting to hate it, and it won me over. I loved it. I got emotional. I actually felt things in a film that was live action from a cartoon that I hadn't before. And I thought it was just an excellent, excellent film. I would give it 4 lightning bolts.
Wow. 4 lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Man, that's strong.
Yeah. I think if a movie makes you feel something, like it's better than a 3. Any point that you actually feel something, you are moved by something, especially something like that, it's worthy of more than a 3, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Strong.
Right, Kyle, Jay Wiltshire, your 30-second review of the live action How to Train Your Dragon 2025 in 3, 2, 1, go.
The truth is, I had very little connection with How to Train Your Dragon going in. I knew the basic premise of the story, but I wasn't prepared for how it made me feel. I wasn't prepared for the emotions that it would stir up in me as I watched a story about a boy and dragons. I felt it to be really powerful. I felt it to be a really encouraging story about, finding who you are, finding what you believe, and being true to the way what you feel is true inside. So I would give it 3 3/4 stars, or lightning bolts. Excuse me, 3 3/4 lightning bolts.
All right,
that was bad. That went way over.
I'm no judgment, Kyle. It was 39 seconds even after you repeated yourself, so it's not like you went for a minute and a half, buddy. Let's get into spoilers, shall we?
Boom! Spoiler warning.
Boom.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, it's a cartoon that came out in 2010. If you hadn't seen it at this point,
I mean, we're in Sixth Sense territory in a lot of ways.
We are. It's been a long time. I was moved many times watching this movie.
Yeah.
It spoke to me in a way that I was not expecting. You said it was moved. What element? You said you were moved. What element kind of got you?
I knew all the beats of the story. I knew generally what was going to happen and how it was going to happen. Like, it was a pretty faithful remake. The only thing I would say that they did a little bit better was the emotional moments between father and son felt a little bit more real. The choices that Hiccup made felt a little bit more real, a little more gravity to their choices. I mean, like doing a thing where basically what you are about to do is going to cause you to be rejected by your entire community. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
To be able to still be willing to do that. And everything felt heavier around it. The relationship between Astrid and Hiccup felt more real in this story. The writing wasn't like amazing. It wasn't the best written. Like you could very well tell it was still from a cartoon. as far as some of the beats, but it didn't make it less powerful. Like the moments where they happen, the willing to sacrifice, the willing to step up and even admit you're wrong. Like those were very, very powerful moments for me.
Yeah. I have to say this just to get it off my chest. Where live action of cartoons falls short is that we watched, for 2 hours, the movie's about 2 hours, a movie about people who fought dragons. And I don't think that at any point in the movie, maybe once or twice, did we ever see anyone kill a dragon.
Yeah, it's a kid's movie.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you go out and they've got these axes and they've got these swords and they've got these spears and maces and all the hammers, and they're all going out, and then nothing happens. That bugged me a little bit, because I'm like, and maybe it's a testament to the movies that I watch, or I've seen too many Game of Thrones or whatever, where they're slaying dragons or whatever it is they're going after. But I was like, I think maybe one got shot out of the air, but with a fireball or something, but it happened way off in the distance, but no one ever took a swing at a dragon and connected, and
the king did just with his fist, basically, or with a hammer.
Right. He punched.
He was punching the dragon. Yeah.
So to me, that's where it kind of falls short, though, because when you're watching a live action, you're expecting something that feels a little bit more real, and then when you're watching, it's very cartoonish, and so it's like there's really no need to make this with real people when we've gotten the same thing already in the cartoon, and when you're watching, your expectation is met of, oh, it's a cartoon, they're trying to keep it clean and nonviolent and all that stuff, whatever. I totally get that. But then you're watching it in live action, you're like, I want to see someone get a dragon, and no one's got one.
Still, live action or not, it's still a kid's movie.
Absolutely. Totally. But that's where the medium misses the mark for me in some regard. That said, that didn't do anything to ruin the movie for me in any way. It was just something that I kind of noticed, and I kind of, I flagged it just a little bit, going like, yeah, no one's killed a dragon in this, and they roll in on these boats and the dragons annihilate everything, and they do make it at some point, they're like, this is all that's back, but we didn't see anyone ever get,
nobody's
burned
floating
by
in the
a
water.
dragon.
Yeah,
there's no bodies floating.
There is at one point some implied crushing that goes on, I think.
Maybe,
when the big dragon starts walking. But Vikings in real life are kind of dull visually, and the cartoon version, the CGI version, is a little more vibrant. And so even the fight scenes at night, it's just a little bit more vibrant in the CGI, and it felt a little muddy and dark in the
very dark
the beginning. Yeah. And I mean, it was on purpose. I noticed how light it was and bright at the end. But it just was a little hard to kind of make out everything that you're kind of seeing and appreciating. And the beginning didn't do as much for me, but it totally won me over.
I clocked that as well. I totally clocked that as well. I guess kind of going back to where we were talking about sort of how it moved us, I don't know if this was from the cartoon, but at least 3 times at the beginning, someone said to Hiccup, like, you need to change all of this. Yeah. Like, and he says, you just motioned to all of me. Yeah. And like, I gotta say that I am one, I'm not going to lay down on the couch here and have a counseling session, but I'm one who's never felt comfortable in his own skin. So I understood that completely. How I've looked at myself from time to time and gone, I wish I could change all of this. Yeah. Not just my looks, but my personality, everything. I've wrestled with that over the course of my life.
And that is why this is an important kids film.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what hit me across the face that I wasn't expecting. I didn't see coming. I was like, whoa, holy cow. I don't know what you think about Enneagram. I'm in Enneagram 4, and that's exactly what they described. Enneagram 4 is like, I'm just never going to be good enough. And nothing I do is good.
Not only was he good enough, but the essence of who he is caused his entire community to change for the good. Yeah. That's a story that needs to be told.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said a minute ago, like, he was brave enough and willing enough to go against everything he'd ever been taught, that dragons are bad, that dragons are just destroyers, but when he found out the truth, that they were serving a greater master who was ruining their lives as well, with this queen bee bee dragon.
I felt like it didn't make as much sense when I watched the live action version, the cartoon. The cartoon, I didn't feel as many holes in that story. It felt like they said something like mind control, like at one point of this big giant, a big dragon in the live action, and I don't know that any of that was really in the cartoon.
Yeah, I didn't get that mind control. I just thought the reason they had to keep feeding the queen bee is because the queen bee controlled them. It was like you do my bidding, you know.
At one point, Astrid's dragon was flying around, and it was like, "Don't listen to her." And like she was like flying into her mouth, and I was like, I don't know what
I didn't catch
is.
that. That was a little weak.
It seemed a little, it seemed like it was confusing things unnecessarily.
Yeah. Let me say this though. I am one very, if you go back to our episode on Gladiator 2 and how I hammered the CGI, how bad the CGI was in that movie, and I'll hammer Marvel when their CGI is bad. The CGI was spectacular.
Yeah, the dragons
in this movie.
In fact,
so good.
In fact, I'm interested to see what you think comparison the dragon flying through the rocks is to the Avatar films.
I mean, it's on par. It's on level par. And in fact, that's where my mind went. I went back to that ride at Disney World.
Yeah.
Where they're flying through where you're riding the beast, flying through the caverns and stuff. Yeah.
I think that they may have used it better in just one shot. There was one scene that I thought was really interesting. I don't know if it was an AI thing or what, but the way they shot the camera, it kind of went through a rock. It went around a rock, and you took the journey where you didn't stay right with the dragon as it was flying, but the camera kind of came around and you caught it on the other side. And I just thought it was a really, really cool shot that I don't know would have been capable too many years ago. And it was very impressive. It helps.
It was stunning.
I think it helps that dragons are not real things.
Yeah.
And so you can pull that off a little bit better in CGI if it's not a real thing. Like it can help a little bit. But, all in all, man, I just thought it was a really good film. I thought that the acting was okay. Here's something that I bet you didn't know. Who is Astrid in real life and who is her mother?
Oh, man. The only thing I knew was wasn't she blonde in the cartoon? This girl had dark hair. That's the only thing I have no idea.
Much more Nordic, I'd say. That was another thing they did that I thought was really interesting is they talked about how all these Vikings had come from all over the world.
Yeah, came from different places.
And I thought that was good. That was a nice update.
It's at least a good way to explain why there's a lot of different people, who have different skin colors and things like that. I thought that was a good way to describe that. Yeah. I have no idea. Yeah. Who the actress is, who her mother is.
So she stars in The Last of Us on HBO. She was in the first season of that. And her mother is none other than Thandie Newton.
Wow. Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Who I believe was in Mission Impossible 2.
Mission Impossible 2. Man.
Yeah.
Wow. How about that?
Yeah.
Ethan Hunt was willing to drive off a cliff for her, man. He was smitten. He was smitten with Thandie Newton. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How? Okay. Very interesting.
And she had some gravitas. I thought she did a good job.
Yeah, she was good. I enjoyed her performance. I like the kid who played Hiccup. I don't know who he was. I've never seen him in anything else.
I think that Jay Baruchel is the original Barry. I don't know how to say his last name.
I don't know how to say his name either.
He's the voice actor, and he did a really good job of embodying that person who felt like they didn't fit in their skin in the original, like his voice and everything. You kind of felt it, and I felt like this kid was a little cuter than maybe he should have been, but it worked. Maybe he was he wasn't perfect, and he definitely felt like he didn't fit in with all the other Vikings, and I thought that was really, really good. I enjoyed the other kids that were in the movie. They were not exactly like the ones in the cartoon, but pretty close, and they had their own interesting kind of hot take. Yeah, and I really enjoyed them quite a bit. I thought that I can't think of his name, but he played the trainer. Oh yeah. That was Colin. Craig Ferguson did his voice in the cartoon. I looked that up. And this guy's going to be playing Hagrid in the new Harry Potter. Oh, Nick, interesting. What is it? Yeah. I mean, he's in all the another Mission Impossible Simon Pegg films. Him and Simon Pegg kind of came up like together. Hot Fuzz, that stuff. Yeah. Okay. I did not recognize him. I was trying to clock him. Nick Frost. Gobber. Yeah. Nick Frost. Nick Frost is also, I think he's going to be Hagrid.
Interesting. Okay.
I hope I'm not making that up. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm saying the wrong thing.
I could see that though when I look at him. He's got the big old bushy beard. Yep. Harry Potter, Rubius Hagrid.
Yeah.
That's a TV show though. That's
Amazon.
not a new movie, right? Amazon. Okay.
8 seasons, something like that.
Why are they doing?
Maybe
this?
10. I don't know. And I love the guy, and I can't think of his name right now. He was in Harry and the Hendersons. John Lithgow. I love John Lithgow, and we're going to disagree on this, but he's 80. That dude's 80 years old. Like, I don't know how he's going to make it. I feel like, I don't know. I'm going to start praying for John Lithgow on a regular basis to make it through Harry Potter.
I have never liked him. He was like the bad guy in, what was the Sylvester Stallone movie where they're trying to, Cliffhanger. He was like the bad guy in Cliffhanger. And I was like, I'm not scared of Harry and the Hendersons. He does not scare me, you know? And so from that point on, that was the 90s when I saw that.
He's been some bad guys that were scary.
I'm sure he has. I just haven't seen it.
The main bad guy in Dexter for a while and was
heard that.
Scary. Like, anyway, sorry. We're getting off topic.
We're adrift, yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon. One thing I'd like to point out that I think is important is that sometimes doing the right thing doesn't mean that you won't lose on occasion.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
costly.
fact that he experienced the cost of it, I thought was very, very powerful and well done for a Viking story. And like it fit within the overall theme of everything. And it's like you didn't see it coming either. And I thought that was just great. Thought it was great.
Well, what I enjoyed more about How to Train Your Dragon that I didn't enjoy as much in Lilo and Stitch is that I feel like they gave the adult audience enough.
Yeah.
In that film to kind of keep us engaged, to help us, enjoy it, to stay plugged in versus Lilo and Stitch was a little bit more like, hey, we're for kids. We're going to lean into that and just, go take your kids, go have a good time, which it was a good time. But this one, I felt there was a little bit more, we made this helmet from your mom's chest plate.
Yeah. That's in the cartoon. That's in the cartoon.
I laughed so hard.
I think he said, thank you for this breast hat or something like that. It was the one. Yeah, no, that's good. And a very Viking joke anyway,
Very Viking, yes.
I thought that the plot devices and the action scenes were clever. The things that they did and the way that he defeated the dragons, clever.
Yeah.
The way they defeated the main dragon, very clever. Like it wasn't just we're going to blow them all up, but somebody spent some time thinking about how they're going to move the story along and how he's going to figure it out. And I just thought that was excellent.
I enjoyed, one of the things that kind of always threw me off about the cartoon is like Toothless looks too cute. Like he's at no point did I ever feel like he was ferocious, but I really enjoyed the way they portrayed him in the CGI. Whereas like at first, when you first saw him, he's very dark. And that was sort of the type of dragon he was. You can't see him at night because he's dark. He looked kind of mean, in the way he snarled and, when he would show his teeth and stuff, it was like, yeah, man, he's kind of scary looking. But then you could see him soften, you could see him warm up to Hiccup and stuff. So I enjoyed it. I thought, again, I was very impressed by the CGI. I was really, cause I kind of go in expecting to be disappointed this time, with CGI.
Yeah.
And it really won me over. I was like, man, this looks fantastic. And there were so many shots in silhouette that looks so good where you saw Hiccup in silhouette or Toothless in silhouette. I was like, man, that's a great looking shot.
Artistically well done.
Yeah, very well done. Very well done.
They did a good job of making Burke feel like a real place. I don't know if it was Scotland or where it was, but they made it feel like a real place. And I thought that was very, very cool. Probably the same place they shot episode 8 of Star Wars.
I wondered. Yeah. I was like, did they shoot at the same place as where Luke Skywalker went away to get away from the world and die?
We'll find that out next episode of the Summer Season Spectacular.
It could be.
That could be something that we learned. All right, Kyle, real quick. This isn't on the agenda, but let's do a see it or skip it. Karate Kid Legends, see it or skip it.
You can skip it. Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch live action 2025, see it or skip it.
If you have children, see it. If you don't, skip it.
How to Train Your Dragon 2025 live action, see it or skip it.
See it. Whether you have kids or not, go see it. It's worth it.
It's worth it. I agree. Yeah. Well, man, I had fun tonight. I'm excited that we got to cover 3. I don't remember what's up next. What's coming up next for us? Do we remember what? This is going to be significant because I have strong feelings and I think you have strong feelings and we're going to go in this together. I'd like to try to watch it. Maybe we can watch it together. I purchased my unlimited pass today, so we both are unlimited now. We can go see movies as we please. Part of that had to do with the fact that my movie ticket was going to cost me $27 today. And I was like,
gracious.
It was like a matinee for IMAX. $27 is how much it was going to cost.
Oh, my word.
So I was like, time to go unlimited.
Time to go. I thought you may already had. That's why you were so quick to pull the trigger on Karate Kid that day. I thought, no,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, that was a birthday present to me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you learn today, Kyle?
Man, I should have been formulating these thoughts, shouldn't I? As we talk.
That's okay. I'll tell you what I learned today, Kyle.
Okay, what'd you learn? I'm excited
I
to hear
learned
what
that you have somehow grown out of slapstick comedy. Like you're too mature for slapstick now. I don't. It's. I was gonna like fall out of my chair and like bust the green screen back from behind me, but like it's not for you anymore. So I'll just leave it to clever quips.
I guess I feel like it's got to have a time and a place, and it just didn't hit me in the right way with Lilo and Stitch. Yeah. Man, Jay, here's what I learned. I learned that, and I've known this for a long time, but man, you will drop a hat at the drop of a hat. Will come see a movie with me on my birthday, and I greatly appreciate that. That
Anything
means
to celebrate you, brother.
An awful lot. That means the world to me, buddy. Absolutely. It was a great day.
Yeah, man. Well, I love you. I'm big Kyle fan since day one.
Love you too, buddy.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, with that, I believe we've had another successful night. Hopefully the microphone will be good. And
I sure hope so. Oh, Lord, let it work.
Let's roll some outro music, shall we?
All right. See you next time.